How's it going, everybody? It's Robin here, and welcome to my channel, Oracle Rising. So this is my channel where I hopefully can be somewhat of a spiritual coach for you. And today's category is going to be, I'm going to talk about the higher self a little bit more in depth. So I was just guided to start this channel a little while ago. The time has flown, so I have been gradually going deeper and deeper with the subjects, but I was gently reminded recently that not everybody is in the same place as I am. So could I kind of go back to the beginning and describe things? So I talked about inner child not too long ago. I want to have another more deep conversation about the higher self. But if you guys are just beginning your spiritual path, coming out of your dark night of the soul, which are brutal, I know. So, or if you're just expanding your consciousness, or you just want to be part of the community, remember to subscribe, you guys, because I really like us to connect all the way around the world, right? So you might want to start off in some video playlists. I have an Exit the Matrix and I have an Ascension folder. So you might want to start at the beginning and work your way through. You can skip whatever you want. I mean, there's probably going to be some titles that are more compelling to you than others. So I'm kind of following up on a video I did on how to interview your higher self. So then I was made aware that not everybody really understands what the higher self is. So I'm going to talk about that to a certain degree today, and then a couple weeks from now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it. So if you guys ever have questions, if you want me to do a different angle on a video, just put a comment down below, or you can email me at oraclerising2. That's a 2, not TWO. So I should have said that before. Sorry. oraclerising2@gmail.com, and I'll gladly give you guys the content that you're looking for to help you out with your consciousness path, okay? So your higher self. This is the part of you that extends out into your 12th chakra, okay? So your higher self actually lives in your 12th chakra, and you kind of want to think of it as a periscope attached to you, okay? So the 12th chakra resides in the 12th dimension or density, depending on what you prefer to call it. I'm just going to get myself a little bit more comfortable here. So the 12th density, I'm just going to call it that. This is where source resides. This is where angels live. This is where the creator lives. So this is also where certain star councils reside. And you'll see that certain other guides like magical unicorns and dragon guides, they live in those dimensions and they'll vibe in and out of them. So imagine that there's a part of you that doesn't just have access to it, they live there full time. They're like grooving with all the guides. They are completely 100% in touch with and aligned to everybody that sees everything. So it's not just your higher self at this point that has access to that, because you are your higher self, just in a different dimension. So you have access to all of that too, okay? So you might not be able to do that where you are right now on your spiritual awakening path. So there could be a little bit of work for you to do, like opening up your chakras. And I've talked about that before. Maybe focusing on Kundalini. You can do Kundalini yoga, or I've done videos on that too, so I don't want to repeat my content. This is why I recommended a couple of playlists for you guys. So meanwhile, you're here. No matter where you are on the spiritual awakening path, we still live on Earth. And we still have to interact with people that are stuck in the matrix. So you can be really forgetful. Sometimes you can backslide. So you have this ultimate guide of super intelligence and super consciousness that is always 100% got your back because it's you, okay? And they can see everything. They're aware of everything. So how much time do you take out of your day to talk to your higher self? You know, and I can be really bad about that myself too, but I usually, and maybe I should feel bad about that, I usually tap into Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel because I just kind of assume that my higher self is always there giving me a constant litany of advice and direction, which I may or may not decide to follow. But, you know, really remember to keep in contact with your higher self and say thank you for kind of dragging you as an anchor around the planet, you know. Oh, there goes the human again, you know. So your higher self is the best version of you. They are advanced and all-knowing. They are tapped into what people call the God source, okay? The creator of all creators, okay? This is your fully awakened self. You know, if you want to think of the most Zen Buddhist monk or the most Zen person you know, and just multiply that, you know, by millions, and it's you, and it's attached to you. So why are we not taking advantage of that a little bit more? And I really want to think that people that are super successful have found that, you know, have really opened up that communication with their higher self, because your higher self, again, I have this always have this periscope sort of way of viewing the higher self, and it maybe looks a little bit more like a goose, but I'm going to stop that. But anyway, they can see, you know, what's the outcome if I make that decision? And you'll get, oh, girl, you know, or boy, you know. So you should be asking your higher self, should I do that? Should I rent that place? Should I take that job? Should I date that person? The answer is immediate. And again, you might want to go back to that video when I did how to interview your higher self. So your higher self exists in purity, not impurity, with no judgment. It is not afraid. It is super consciousness and super intelligence. So I made that joke about your higher self kind of going, there goes the human. They're not like that, okay? They're just like a very mindful, almost like parent, you know, almost like the most tolerant parent in the world, but it's you. It's just you blossomed up all the way through every dimension. So when people say that, well, I'm not quite there yet on my path, you're already there. Maybe you're just not doing that 100% communication. You know, it's not like you have so much work to do on your path to be spiritually conscious. You're already there. You know, a part of you exists in all these dimensions, all these densities, going all the way up to the 12th, right? So, and the 12th is your chakra. I'll say it again. That is your higher self. So when people say you're already awakened, you're already in touch, that's what they're talking about, because part of you resides there already. It's just the rest of you might have trouble reconciling yourself with that fact, or maybe you just didn't even know what was going on. So that could be a really big boost to you to think like, oh, I don't have that much. Well, it's not that complicated. You could probably still have a little bit of work to do, because unlearning 3D matrix habits can be very, very challenging. And like I said before, you could just get booted back into them sometimes, you know. Like particularly, you know, I had kind of a forced almost year off of work because I lost my full-time job because of the pandemic, and it took me forever to find another one because obviously nobody was hiring. But in that space, I went through like this massive spiritual metamorphosis where I was by myself. I could do all the meditation I wanted, do all the research I wanted, but then I had to go back to work in the 3D matrix, and it was like, you you know, not a fan. So, and now I'm spending a lot of my energy sort of shielding myself from that. So I'm just kind of coming to terms with that. And I'm kind of forgetting about my higher self and the advice that I'm getting, because I'm really just trying not to slip back into the muck, right? So anyway, enough about that. We talked about the higher self being the 12th chakra, the divine source chakra, and I'm going to talk about that more in depth in a future video not too far away. Your communication with your higher self provides deep wisdom from a place of all-knowing love, okay? So they can see all outcomes, all right? And they can also go talk to other people's higher selves on your behalf, okay? So if there's somebody that you have been missing, or somebody that you just don't have the courage to speak to in real life, you can ask your higher self to go and talk to that other person's higher self on your behalf. If you need an apology, or if you want them to apologize, whatever it is that you need, you can just call on your higher self, because it lives in God's source, okay? And I just saw angel number 1122. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that I said. Yes, I'm fascinating. About sliding back into the 3D matrix, and how many of you have gone through that, where, you know, maybe you did have that forced time alone, and you're like, oh, wow, like I'm going to watch things like Ancient Aliens or Gaia TV, or just, you know, dive into some really interesting books. I've given some recommendations before. Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, Bringers of the Dawn, and then you just keep on tripping over other examples of things that are kind of really mind-blowing. You might have come across my channel, or other guides out there. There's plenty. And then things go back to normal, whatever that is, and it's very much a shock. So if you guys have had that experience, I'd really love to hear from you, because like I really struggled, and I really just had to keep on going, you know, and I'm still kind of, I feel like it's a little bit sticky. I feel like the 3D matrix is a little bit sticky right now. So anyway, that's a little bit more about the higher self. I'll do an in-depth video shortly, probably in the next week or two, just to follow up. Again, email me, guys, or comment with content ideas. I love to hear from you, and I will definitely fit your idea into my content. I will do the research. I'm here to support all of us as a team, okay? Team of light workers, team of empaths, the team of love. Go us. Okay, I'm gonna go have coffee. Love and light, guys. Bye.